One of the biggest frustrations for pond owners is murky water. This is especially true if your pond contains koi, or other ornamental fish that are obscured by the water's murkiness. I speak from experience because I struggled for years trying to resolve this issue with expensive, store-bought chemicals and devices. In this video, I'll walk you through a relatively cheap, extremely effective, fast, and natural solution to this all too common problem. All that, coming right up. Excessive algae growth has probably been the main cause of my murky pond water. Expensive, store-bought algicides, flocculants, mechanical, and biofilters, and UV clarifiers have rarely, if ever, worked for me. A likely reason for this is that the algae never had enough competition from plants to help consume nitrates. My pond only has water lilies which are great at blocking sunlight, but aren't very good at removing nitrates. Ironically, the algae were probably helping to keep the water chemistry properly balanced by compensating for the lack of plants. In addition, they were camouflaging the koi from potential predators, which is also a good thing for the koi. But from an aesthetics perspective, what's the point in having koi or other ornamental fish if you can barely see them? So, what finally solved this problem? It's really quite simple. The answer is a bog filter, consisting of a 64-gallon plastic bin filled with lava rocks and topped off with pea gravel. But before I get into the construction details, let's take a moment to look at the overall pond setup. Now, let's take a closer look at what's happening in the bog filter. Incoming water is directed down through a 1-inch, Schedule 40, PVC pipe, to the bottom of the bog filter, where it is distributed horizontally through holes in a 1-inch PVC pipe. When the water reaches the front and back walls, it is directed upwards towards the surface. When it reaches the surface, it flows out by gravity through a discharge hose which carries it down to the top tier of the waterfall. Okay, now that we've seen how the bog filter works, it's time to see how it was built. I started by purchasing a 64-gallon plastic storage bin from a local hardware store. I fashioned a false bottom from the lid of another storage bin by cutting out the middle section and screwing portions of the outer edges to the middle section to serve as feet. For the piping, I used 1-inch Schedule 40 PVC pipe and cut it to fit the dimensions of the storage bin. The inlet pipe was routed over the back wall near the top overflow outlet to avoid cutting a hole for it through the bin wall. I installed a ball valve on the incoming section of pipe. There were only 2 holes that I cut in the bin walls. One was for an 1.5 inch top overflow outlet through the left side of the bin's back wall. The second opening was for the bottom sludge discharge through the middle bottom of the bin's right wall. I used hole saws to cut both openings and made the initial holes slightly smaller than needed. Then I widened the openings to the size needed using a Dremel drill. For the top overflow outlet, I screwed the threaded end of an 1.5 inch nylon MPT by barb fitting directly into the opening, and applied plumber's putty around the threaded end on the bin's inside wall. Next, I attached an 1.25 inch corrugated hose to the barbed end of the fitting, using a hose clamp. For the sludge discharge opening, I used a 1-inch PVC MPT by slip fitting, and screwed the threaded end directly into the opening. Then I applied plumber's putty around the threaded end on the inside wall as before. Next, I glued a 2-inch section of 1-inch PVC pipe to the female end, to which I glued a ball valve. main bed of filter media is comprised of 10 half-cubic foot bags of lava stones, topped with 2 bags of pea gravel. I had to build a bracing frame around the bin to prevent the walls from bulging out due to the extreme weight of the water and stones. Here's the finished bog filter with water hyacinth plants added, to help mitigate algae blooms by absorbing nitrates from the water. Additionally, the bog filter greatly increases the water's residence time by reducing its velocity as compared to a conventional filter. This allows time for solids to settle to the bottom. After the first few hours of running the bog filter, I noticed a layer of green flock on top of the stone bed. Once again, here are the before and after pictures less than 24 hours after starting up the bog filter. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more like it, please like and subscribe. And to avoid missing out on new videos, please click the notifications bell. Have a great day.